Himself. First down at the 24. And wide open. Touchdown! Terrence Carter Jr. winning a whip, does it again.
They're going to fake the screen pass out to the outside. It looks like he's going to block, and then he takes off down the field. They do this as well as any.
That should be overturned, and that should become Memphis ball.
After reviewing the play, the runner fumbled the ball prior to being down by Rule. It was recovered by Memphis. First down, Memphis.
This place is exploding. They're going nuts here in Memphis as they take over possession with a minute 18 looking to slay an SEC team.
Handoff, big hole. Kiss him goodbye. Another handoff, big hole. Kiss him goodbye. Touchdown, Kobe Martin. 31 yards on the ground.
The Tigers on 4th and 29.
Throw a Hail Mary towards Cam Coleman.
He goes down to the end zone, a safety. On the 10th sack, a fitting ending to this one. Although it's not over yet as they celebrate.
Welcome back, folks. It is a beautiful Monday evening. Not really, because it's raining outside, but if you're listening, hopefully it's a beautiful Tuesday morning. You're listening to Victory Formation, a college football podcast, and I am Brandon, along here with nobody. This episode's a little different. I'm by myself. Our other two co-hosts had some difficulty getting here tonight, but I'm here. That's all that matters, right? I already got hounded. You already got scolded for not doing or I should say we got scolded for not doing a week 4 into the trenches. But we're here now. That's all that matters, right? We're here now. So, let's get into it. Week 4. Kind of a crazy one. Had a lot of ups. Had a lot of downs. Let's start with Vandy. Vandy dropped 70 points for the first time in 100 years. 70 points for the first time since 1918. I'm kind of rooting for Vandy here. I think a lot of people are. Are they like turning into America's team? I saw a picture of the stadium there Saturday night in Nashville, and it was slammed. I mean, let's go Doors. That was exciting to see. We love when less fortunate teams can bring some challenge to the table, and more than a challenge, as we've seen from Vandy last year, upsetting multiple teams, probably upsetting all the teams, because who expected them to win 6 games? I don't think anyone did. But here we are, 4-0, Vanderbilt Commodores, 4-0. Stadium was 80% full. I don't think many fans have even seen it 50% full. So, go Doors. Round of applause for Doors. Next up, Tulsa beats Oklahoma State at Stillwater. That's Oklahoma State's hometown for the first time in 75 years. They beat Oklahoma State in the 1990s, I think. So about 35 years ago, they got their last win over Oklahoma, but I think it was at home or in a bowl game. I'm not sure. Don't count me on that. But yeah, they go to Oklahoma State and beat them for the first time in 75 years. Round of applause for them. Speaking of the Cowboys, Mike Gundy, 3-9 last season, starting off 1-3, 21st season. Is he gonna make it to 22? Probably not. Mike Gundy's on the hot seat now. You know, Mike Gundy, the obvious one, Dabo Swinney in Clemson. That program is abysmal right now, falling apart in every single direction. It looked like Angry Birds Tower that we played at Topgolf. That's how crazy it was. Or that's how crazy this Clemson program is right now. It's just toppling down in every direction. They can't get a break. Fire Fickle, Chance echoing through Camp Randall Saturday night. Not a good look. He's been there, 3 years? Came in from Cincinnati. You know, he got them into the playoffs. Very first Group of 5 team into the playoffs. held their own against Alabama, but they also had Desmond Ridder, who's, he's a good college quarterback. They had, what's his name? Sauce Gardner, Kobe Bryant. Both those two are pretty good studs in the NFL right now. And then you had Jerome Ford in the backfield. Those four were on a team together at Cincinnati. Nobody really thinks about that, but they had some really good talent at Cincinnati. Luke Fickell, kind of in the spotlight after holding up their own against Alabama in the playoffs. I think it was like 3-13, but even then, everyone expected them to lose by 30. Came out and lost by 10. Pretty good showing by the Bearcats for the group of 5. But yeah, Fickell might be his last year at Wisconsin. Who knows where he's going next? Maybe he'll go back to Cincinnati. They kind of need it. They haven't been anything since. Billy Napier, another obvious one on the hot seat. Florida. I didn't even think they're going to score a point against Miami, but kind of came into the second and third quarter, and they kind of looked like they were holding their own a little bit. Showing some life. DJ Lagway, I don't think he has the right scheme behind him. I don't even know if he has the talent to be, that crazy 5-star sophomore that everyone expects him to be, but. Yeah, the Gators are 2-2 now, so not looking good in Gainesville. So what went good this weekend? We just talked about 4 or 5 head coaches that might get fired by week 8, week 7. Let's talk about what went good. Oklahoma defense. Looks like the best defense in the SEC, at minimum. The SEC. First time in 25 years, probably since Mike Stoops was a defensive coordinator, head coach for them, and Venables was the defensive coordinator. I think he was in his third year in the 2000s or the year 2000. But that was the last time we've seen a defense like this from Oklahoma. Indiana couldn't do anything wrong. I mean, they put up an overwhelming 50-point win against their neighboring state rival. I don't even know if it's a rivalry, especially after Saturday. They couldn't miss. They could not miss, dude. Everything went right. Every single thing went right. I don't know if Illinois just fell off the face of the earth and took the week off or what, but that did not look like a ranked matchup. And that kind of scared me. After seeing them score 28, I was like, dang, Indiana, they're playing good today. And then it was 35, 42, 49. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. Indiana, they're kind of running the score up here. Illinois usually can hold their own in offense. At least we've seen that this year. They put up almost 50 against Duke. I know Duke has no defense, but they were kind of going at it there in the first half. Illinois Duke, but I did not expect that. Me and Jake, everyone, you look at the spread for that game. Indiana's ranked 19th, Illinois is ranked 9. Illinois should be favored, right? It's Indiana, but still, you see the 9th ranked team versus the 19th. You don't get in the top 10 unless you have somewhat of a brain. So. Interesting spread there. It was 6.5 to start that game. You don't get a 6.5 point spread just for home field advantage. That Vegas knew, and a lot of people didn't, including me. I took Illinois. That was wild. That was only the second time between those two schools' history of competing against each other that they were both ranked. They're historically the worst 2 teams in the Big Ten. Which is I still can't wrap my mind around that, because Illinois, we were talking about Illinois just winning. Just win. Down the board until they 8-0, and then they put up a good fight against Michigan or Ohio State or whoever they're playing, Penn State. They kind of just get shrugged off until later in the year, early November, late October, and then they just like put up a good fight against a really good team. And then on the other hand, Indiana, Cignetti's freaking changed his program around completely, done a complete 180. Second time those two teams have faced when they're both ranked, which is mind-blowing. So, a couple more. Texas, they scored more than 30, scored more than 40. I think, 50-something to 0? I mean, it was Sam Houston, it was Cupcake, Helen Keller School of the Blind, but still. Virginia Tech wakes up, they drop Brent Pry and magically can score. Drop 40 against their Cupcake. I'm not sure who they played. Wofford, maybe? I think so, because I had Wofford covering 34 and Virginia Tech won by 32. Miami. Indians look strong. First, came out right at the gate. I thought Florida wasn't going to score a point. Defensive line's crazy. Carson Beck looked good. Then he looked bad in the second and third quarter, and then they came alive in the fourth, destroying Jake's hopes for a 16.5 cover by Florida. Sorry, I had to throw that jab in there for Jake. My bad. So since we're getting into the good side of what happened this weekend, what we like to see, let's talk about the top 10. AP poll, top 10. Not a whole lot of movement. In the top 5, Miami jumps to 2. Do I agree with that? I don't think so. Ohio State stays at 1, Miami 2, Penn State drops 1-3, LSU drops 1-4. Georgia stays at 5, Oregon stays at 6, Oklahoma jumps 4 to 7. I do agree with that. Very good win against Auburn. Very good win. Was it kind of... Were they throwing a couple questionable gray area plays? Yes. Was Auburn not getting lucky? Were they getting very unlucky? Yes. In the first quarter, Auburn had a scoop and score that was a touchdown. They let it go until he was in the end zone. You can always go back and change it. Just let the play out, and then if he scores, then you can go back and review the play and change it. I do agree with that, but I don't think I agree that they overturned the call because he made 3.5 steps, turned, and Auburn defender punched it out. I don't know if we know what a second move is yet in college. I think that all kind of woke us up in 2019, Ohio State versus Clemson. That was really what sparked this whole what is a second move by a ball carrier, and I don't think we know yet. And that's something we need to figure out because it's affecting a lot of these games. Do I think Auburn should have won that game? I don't think so. Do I think Oklahoma deserved the win? Yes. They played great, especially at the end. John Mateer looks great. Number 8, Florida State. Played another cupcake. I think we're going to finally see them get a little bit of a challenge in week 5. They go to Virginia, and the spread is a little bit interesting on that one. We're going to get into that, into the trenches, Thursday night/Friday morning. We're going to get into that. I promise, I pinky promise, I will be there. I will be there. We'll see if Jake and Troy want to join me. Sorry, I keep throwing these jabs for no reason. They're not even here to defend themselves, and I just keep spewing. But that's what happens. That's what happens when you skip this. You just get the left hook from behind. 9, Texas A&M. They jump up 1. Number 10, Texas. They move down 2. I don't even think Texas belongs in the top 10. Number 11, Indiana. Jumping 8 spots. I do agree with that. I think they deserve to flip spots with Illinois. At least. And I think Illinois should have dropped to at least 19, which they did. They were out of the top 25. Number 12, Texas Tech. Looked really good against Utah. Utah looked helpless. Texas Tech had all the right game plan on defense, and then they just turned it up. They said, oh yeah, watch this, and dropped 30-something in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss 13. Iowa State 14, Tennessee 15, Georgia Tech, blah, blah, blah. Vanderbilt moves up to 18. Michigan 19, good win over Nebraska. Missouri to 20. South Carolina. They had a 9-point win over South Carolina. Lenore Sellers did come back for that game, and I didn't really get to watch a single snap of that game, but I don't think there was much to watch. USC 4-0 now, 21. Notre Dame 22. Illinois drops to Illinois is in at number 23, not out of the top 25. TCU 24. BYU 25. Those are two new entries into the top 25. TCU and BYU both 3-0. Auburn number 26. Most votes outside of the top 25. I don't agree that they should have dropped out of the top 25 because they fought like hell against Oklahoma. Mississippi State, number 27. Whoa. Hello. USF, 28. Utah, 29. Arizona State, 30. Memphis, 31. And that's really it. Louisville, Maryland, UNLV, UCF, North Texas all getting votes. North Texas, folks. Starting to pop up on the radar a little bit. They're 4-0 now. They're dropping. Their offense is pretty solid. I'm going to have to watch a game this coming week about them to see if I see anything. Well, I will relay back to you next Sunday night or Monday night. But that's the AP polls top 25. Do we agree with it? Somewhat. Mostly. I have Ohio State, number 1. Penn State, number 2. Miami jumps to 3, not 2. Miami jumps over LSU. I can't jump them to 2. I just can't put my mind around them being at number 2 for being a bad Florida team. I can't do it. I can't have them jump 2 spots for an unranked win. LSU still played football. They still did what they needed to do. I think they deserve to jump LSU. That's fine. If anything, you could put them 3A and 3B. That'd be perfect. Number 5, Oregon. Starting to... They spent the last 4 weeks working up to this moment coming up. They go into Happy Valley, night game, whiteout. The craziest atmosphere in college football. We're going to see very quickly, T-minus 5 days, if they're the real deal or not. Georgia, number 6. Oklahoma, number 7. I do agree with the AP poll on Oklahoma jumping up that high. Oklahoma's defense looks solid, more than solid, and Oklahoma's offense looks pretty good. John Mateer looks pretty good. They can do what they want on defense most of the time. And a couple kinks still got to work out on offense, but the talent is there and the plan is there. I really like it. Oklahoma starts to get into the SEC conference games, so we're really going to see them. We're really going to see if they are legit or not. I genuinely think Auburn was a good win. I do. A lot of people were down in Auburn. A lot of people didn't know why the spread was 7.5 maybe. I don't know what it ended at, but a lot of people didn't understand that one. This isn't the same Auburn team we've seen in the past. Auburn's not going to lose 9 games by 1 score or less this year. They're going to win a couple of those games, if not most. Florida State, number 8. Number 9, I have Texas A&M. They still holding on to that Notre Dame win from last week. Number 10, I have Texas Tech. Number 11, I have Indiana. You could swap those two if you really wanted to. I really like those two to round out my top 10. I think most agree with that. With that top 11, I think that's pretty set in stone. I don't think Texas belongs in the top 11. What I saw from Indiana Saturday, I would take Indiana at a neutral site over Texas, I think. Now dropping out of my top 10 is obviously Illinois and Texas. I think I have Texas at 10. I have both those teams dropping out. Illinois is kind of self-explainable, and then you have Texas, which I just explained. Let's go through a couple of the other games. Or I'm just going to go in detail about any game that I'm going to read off. How about that? Arkansas loses 31-32 against Memphis. Arkansas marching down the field. I think there was about a minute left in the game. They're within 5 yards of a touchdown. So they're going to win this game. Like, they're going to win it. All they have to do is not fumble. What does Arkansas do? Fumble the football. Memphis recovers. Game over. Pretty heartbreaking loss for the Razorback fans there. Syracuse 34-21 over Clemson. Syracuse is 3-1. Clemson is 1-3. Oh no. I really don't know. I'd probably be depressed. I don't even think I'd go to work. If I was a Clemson fan, I would truly be devastated of how this year has turned out. I really would. I mean, you have so much talent on that team. Klubnik, dude. This kid was supposed to be a Heisman finalist. This kid was supposed to be in top 3, top 2. Two of the 3 members on this podcast had him as their Heisman winner. And it's not... I don't blame him. That's a good pick. That really is a good pick. But, dude, what are they doing? I mean, I don't know. Brian Wesco. Like, kid's supposed to be a day 1 wide receiver pick. I don't understand it. I mean, he had a decent day. 10 receptions, 79 yards. Or 6 receptions, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. The game was over at the half. Syracuse was up 30. What? Let me see. 24-14, 34-14 in the third quarter. The game was, I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Maryland 4-0. One of the last 7 undefeated teams left. They beat Wisconsin in Camp Randall 27-10. North Texas 45-38. Oh, speaking of Maryland, Malik Washington, their quarterback, is looking pretty good. North Texas 45-38 over Army. North Texas, one of the 7 last undefeated teams. Oh, my bad. There's only 7 Power 4 undefeated teams. Not total. So North Texas, sorry, you don't count. South Florida 63-14 over South Carolina State. TCU 35-24 over SMU. Texas Tech 34-10 against Utah in Utah. That's a hard place to play. That's a hard place to do what they did. Texas Tech starting quarterback Morton goes out in the second quarter. He takes a couple nasty shots, like took a shot to the ribs. I mean, Jake was sitting there, we were watching that, and Jake was like, yeah, he broke his ribs, there's no way. Dude got smoked. Backup comes in. 13 of 16 for 2 touchdowns, 170 yards. Dude was doing whatever he wanted to this Utah defense. The definition of Utah is defense. Their defense is always stout. And then the backup quarterback just comes in and does what he wants. Evan Dampier, 25-38, 162. No touchdowns, 2 picks. Watching this Utah team, they didn't want to win this game. They were literally trying to lose. I swear. There's going to be an investigation about this game. There's got to be. I mean, the first half was terrible to watch. Both these teams were just looked like when you throw a football on the ground at recess and all these kids just run after it and nobody can pick it up. They're all just kind of batting it around. That's literally what it was in the first half of this game. It was just watching a bunch of little kids toss around a football, throwing it wherever with no thought behind the eyes. It was bad. It was a bad football game in the first half. It really was. It was 10-10 until the fourth quarter. It was bad. Or it was 10-3 until the fourth quarter. Yeah, I don't know about Utah anymore, dude. After seeing that, I mean, Whittingham, get them boys straightened out, because I really had some hope for this Utah team this year. What else? Oklahoma, 24-17 over Auburn. Great win. And while we're here, why don't we bring up our player of the week, week 4 feature formation player of the week. First defensive player of the week on Victory Formation, by the way. Jamison Thomas, Oklahoma defensive end. Helped the Sooners reach a school record 10 sacks against Jackson Arnold and that Auburn offense team. He added 5 solo tackles and 2 sacks himself. One of them being the game sealer, the sack in the end zone, Auburn safety, which actually pushed the spread to Oklahoma covering, which is mind-blowing. Luckily, in my bets, I took Auburn 8.5. So the spread was 7. Auburn was losing by 6. All they had to do was not get sacked. Auburn got sacked. 6-8. Now the Auburn was, no, it was 5 to. Jeez, I'm all twisted up right now. Auburn's losing by 5. All they have to do is not get sacked. No, it was 6. Yeah, it was 6 because the spread was 7. Okay. Auburn's losing by 6. All they have to do is not get sacked. Auburn gets sacked, pushes it to Oklahoma's covering by 8. Correct. I'm glad we made it through that. Holy. But yeah, Jamison Thomas. Round of applause for him. Victory Formation Player of the Week. First defensive player that we've had win the trophy this week. So kudos to him. Great day from him and that defensive line. Where was I? Jackson Arnold didn't have a bad day. John Mateer looked pretty good. It's a ranked matchup. It's SEC football. Now, moving on. Florida State 66-10 over Kent State. Michigan 30-27 at Nebraska. Pretty good win for the Wolverines there. Bryce Underwood, nothing crazy, but he's a freshman. You can't expect him to throw 300 yards with 4 touchdowns and no picks. Didn't have a pick or touchdown, but he did have a rushing touchdown. He also broke off for like a 35-yard run. That was actually probably the best play of the weekend. The best designed play of the weekend. So basically what happened was head coach for Michigan, interim head coach, I can't remember his name. They must have saw something in that Nebraska defense. Because not the very next play, but they had a QB designed run right up the gut. They must have had wide receivers line up on the outside, run out routes, left the middle of the field wide open. They even created a gap. You know, he drops back. Oh, I'm going to throw it. Nope, doesn't throw it. Takes off sprinting about a second and a half after the ball snapped. Runs for like 35 yards. Puts them in field goal range. I think they scored a touchdown on that drive. Not from Bryce Underwood. I could be wrong. I don't know. I watched this game kind of like off to the side. I wasn't really like paying attention to this game fully because Auburn, Oklahoma was such a good game. Besides the point, Bryce Underwood did his job. Justice Haynes looks insane. 17 carries, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. Had a 75-yard run. Another one. How many is that in the season? Like 3 or 4? Dude has more rushing yards than 80% of the league just on 4 rushes. Jalen Marshall, I mean, that's a crazy 1-2 punch. And having Hyder come in next year, Michigan run game, pretty solid. I don't know what year Justice Haynes is, but having Jalen Marshall and Hyder behind him, it's like the Blake Corum, what's his name, a couple years ago. Blake Corum was like the stud freak. I'm drawing a blank in this kid's name. He was on the cover of college football. I don't know. It's like the same situation though. Justice Haynes is a stud. Jalen Marshall, I think Jalen Marshall is going to be a better running back than he is dual threat. They got a good thing going there. Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, Patty Mahomes Jr. didn't look terrible. Threw 40 passes, completed 30 of them, 310 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. He was getting swamped. I mean, he had no protection, and he was still throwing some good passes, good looks. I mean, if I'm a Cornhusker fan, I didn't see nothing wrong with how he played, except the fact that he didn't win the game. But you can't. It's not a one-man show. So, Ja'Cory Barney, he was our player of the game. No, Was he? I think he was our player of the week last week. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been so long. It's been like 8 days. I can't remember. I'm a dude. I can't remember that long ago. Ja'Cory Barney Jr., wide receiver for Nebraska. 6 receptions, 120 yards, receiving, 2 touchdowns. Kid's a stud. We've talked about him earlier. I know that. Nothing to worry about for Nebraska. I mean, Michigan's looking good. I had to talk Troy into Michigan winning 9 or 10 games this year. And this is exactly on the route that I thought they were going to be. You know, had to put up a good fight against Oklahoma. Now we know Oklahoma's might be the real deal. All you can hope for is Oklahoma keeps winning, keeps looking like the real deal, and that 11-point loss looks good. They're 3-1. They kind of have they could put it on cruise control for a couple games. Who do they got next? Where am I at here? Just got all flipped around. Who do they got next? Let's see. Wisconsin. Ooh, they got USC. Then they got Washington. Then they got Little Bro. Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland, and then Ohio State. So they got 4 more challenging games. They're at USC. October 11th. USC's kind of looking good right now. Washington, we'll see how well they do against the competent team this weekend. We'll see if that's going to be a matchup to think about. Then you have like a 3 or 4 week period until you have Maryland. You're at Maryland. So 4-0 currently. And they are making a bid for the top 25 as of right now. But that's a long ways away. That could be a ranked matchup. It could be not a non-ranked matchup. Who knows? Then you have Ohio State, obviously, which all bets are off for that game. So, Michigan, W. Notre Dame, 56-30, W. Ole Miss, W over Tulane, 45-10. That's kind of a surprising one. I thought Tulane was going to put up a little better fight than that, and they did not. They looked like crap. Duke, 45-33 over NC State. Duke moved to 2-2. That kind of saves their season a little bit. I think Duke's a little better than what they seem to be right now. They go to Syracuse next week. Next week is in this Saturday. Then they go to California. Dang. They go up then way over. That's a lot of traveling. To Syracuse, to Cal. Then they host Georgia Tech. Then they're at Clemson, which who knows if that's even going to be a game or not. Duke might throw up 60 on them. UConn, Virginia, North Carolina, Wake Forest. They have 3 challenging games left, Duke. I could see them sitting at 7-5, 8-4. If they can pull out the Clemson. Right on track. Delaware, 38-16 over FBS school, FIU. Georgia Tech, 45-24. Mississippi State, 38-10. Kansas gets the does the smackdown on West Virginia, 41-10. Let's see, who else? Missouri, 29-20 over South Carolina. South Carolina is now unranked. Arizona State, 27-24 over Baylor. That was a good game. Came right down to the last 2 seconds. I had Baylor money line. I'm kind of salty about that one. Vanderbilt, 70-21 over Georgia State. That first quarter was kind of concerning. I looked at the scoreboard. It was like, okay, what happened here? They're not trying to let me see the box score. 1 sec. Okay, well, let me see. Vandy gets the dub at home against Cupcake. Indiana, 63-10 against Illinois. That's a big one. That's a big one. Fernando Mendoza, 21 of 23, 267 with 5 touchdowns. Dude, 5 touchdowns. This kid just threw 5 touchdowns. Rushing. Martin, 12 attempts, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's averaging like 9 yards a carry. It's pretty good. And then the backup, Black, 10 attempts, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. That's 9 yards a carry too. Like I said, they just did whatever they wanted, and it worked. Omar Cooper Jr. was our player of the week last week. That's who it was. Ja'Cory Barney, we talked about earlier this year being a stud for Nebraska. That's right. Omer Cooper Jr., Ja'Cory Barney Jr. You see how I can get those mixed up? Me too. Yeah, nothing on Illinois side of the football. Luke Altmaier, 14 of 22 with 146 yards in the air and 1 touchdown. They put in their backup. That's how bad it got. When you put in your backup, that's how you know you're either smoking or getting smoked. Something's smoking if backups are going in. See, just like Texas Tech quarterback, backup went in. The starting quarterback got smoked. That was kind of dumb. Let's finish it out with Washington, 59-24 over Washington State. LSU wins. Utah State, Texas. Texas gets the dub over Sam Houston, 55-0. Arch Manning thinks he's the GOAT or something, standing over a FCS/FBS school defender. Like, what are we doing? Dude, you are like the biggest letdown in college football other than Clemson's program right now, and we're standing over people, showboating, taunting, whatever it was. I don't even know if it was that. Like how okay. You look at Arch Manning after he's played the first 3 games, are you scared of him? No. You're not scary. Little bro, sit down. You're not scary. You should be doing that. Just grow up a little bit. Tulsa 19-12 over Oklahoma State. USC 45-31 over Michigan State. Iowa wins over the Rutgers. Let's look at USC real quick. I want to see their stats. I have not looked at this. I fell asleep at like halftime. Aiden Childs, Michigan State quarterback, 12 of 21, 212 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns. Also had 30 yards rushing with 1 touchdown. So he was basically the team, which sounds about right. Michigan State wide receiver Omari Kelly, 6 receptions, 133 yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty good day from him. Then you have Jaden Miava, 20 of 26, 234 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Pretty good day from the USC quarterback there. USC slowly creeping in. USC's running back, Wayman Jordan, 18 attempts, 157 rushing yards. Pretty good. He also adds 2 catches with 25 receiving yards. Kai Lemon, wide receiver for USC, 8 catches, 127 yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty good day from him too. I'm going to have to watch USC this weekend. I think they go to Illinois. That's a ranked matchup. USC at Illinois. We'll see if Illinois can figure it out. I'm sure Bielema isn't very happy with them right now. As we speak, probably. He's probably tired. Probably lost his voice already. It's already Tuesday. Or it's only Tuesday. I think that rounds out our recap of the games. Let's hit on our coach. This one's pretty obvious. Coach of the week. Coach of the week. Victor Formation Coach of the week. Curt Cignetti, Indiana head coach. Did most impressive win of week 4 by far. I mean, this was as close as a perfect performance as you can get from a head coach. I don't even think he coached. After he saw 45-10, he probably just stood back and was like, "Hey, Mendoza, call whatever you want. Obviously, it's going to work." That's what happened. Just did what they wanted. Uniform of the week. Oregon. Shoe Duck Special. They had all white jerseys. They had a black, it was like a 2-tone. They had black wings on their jerseys, obviously, black wings on the helmet, but it had gold flakes in it. Gold flakes in the black, excuse me, in the black area. It was kind of sick. That was the tribute to Phil Knight, who was the co-founder of Nike. And I think that about does it. Let me find a fun fact real quick. Fun fact. Hold up. 1 sec before we go. Fun fact. So, here we go. Georgia. Obviously, you know I like to do college football fun facts. The college football team of Georgia, I'm assuming that was what they were called before the Georgia Bulldogs. They were called, their mascot was a goat before a bulldog. That's pretty crazy. So it was the Georgia Goats. That would have been a fun fact like 2-3 years ago, before Big Ten decided to be good at football again. Because Georgia had like a 2 or 3-peat. Or 2-peat. The Georgia Goats. Why isn't there a team named the Goats? Now I'm starting to question that. Like, we have the Campbell Camels in the FCS, the Delaware Blue Hens. Who else? We have Cardinals. We have, obviously, Tigers. Do we have any Lions? I don't think we have any Lions. No Lions? No Dolphins? Do we have any fish? Fish. I don't think we have any fish. Hold on, let me think here. Dolphins. Sharks. Whales. Swordfish. Tiger shark. Do we have any aquatic animals in college football? Hold on, I'm looking. We're looking here. The mules. Army mules. That's the mascot. Eagle. Bearcats. Dragons. Bengals. Beavers. Beaver. I mean, that's close. Blue Jay. Panthers. Huskies. Blue Devils. Bobcats. Dude, we don't have any... Are we serious? We don't have any lions. Oh, we got the Nittany Lions. Okay. They're not real lions, though. It's technically a mountain lion. So it is a lion. What? So we don't have any lions or water animals in college football. Pretty crazy. That's a fun that's a better fun fact than the goats. We just came up with that on the spot. Pretty crazy. But I think that does it. Hopefully see y'all Friday morning. I know I will. Troy and Jake, I will make them be here. So have a good rest of y'all's week. And we have a good week 5 coming up. I'll say that. So if I'm gonna be here Friday morning, y'all better be here Friday morning. That does it. Peace out, y'all.